In the age of information, nobody thinks. We expected to banish paper, but we actually banished thought. What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Chilling Tales. So what you're about to hear is one of the most gruesome, impeccable bear attack stories that I've told on this channel yet, but I warn you, it's quite chilling. So if you will, like this video, subscribe to the page, and pull that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. So Darcy was a beautiful young woman in her mid-30s. Nice, tall, lean, pale skin, a brunette, hazel eyes. She played tennis, and she was an excellent housewife. And I know that those sort of things are kind of looked down upon these days, right? Like, they're like, oh, Iceman, why was she a housewife? Why is he holding down the women? But the truth is, they wanted to take things back to the way they used to be, you know? Back when men were men and women were women. And that's what Darcy and Michael had. And it seems to me that it was a great recipe for an awe-inspiring life, just rooted in how things ought to be. Michael was a software engineer, busted his ass all day. But fortunately for them, they had a nice little cabin right outside of Anchorage, Alaska, or maybe it wasn't all that fortunate with what happened. I almost don't want to tell this story. What a hideous thing that happened to this woman. And even more so is the chilling, twisted end. So stay tuned for this one. I mean, I don't like to draw these assumptions so much, but I know some of you guys do. So we're going to have to listen. We're going to have to use our heads. We're going to have to use some thought in an age where nobody thinks. So they would go out and visit the cabin in early spring, which is a time when most folks wouldn't vacation. There were other cabins surrounding theirs, a couple miles out, but nobody would vacation at that time. It wasn't quite summertime. The kids were still in school and all that. Now, Darcy and Michael didn't have any kids, but they go out there one dreary spring. The sounds of birds, the river running, the smoke from the cabin chimney, from the nice little fire they had going on inside. What a beautiful, romantic time together. And this incident took place when Darcy and Michael were in their pajamas. They were both in their bathrobes, just cuddled up on the couch, on the creaky little couch in the cabin, enjoying some morning tea. And that's when horror struck. So they heard a creak of the door. And Michael looked around. His woman was right on top of him. He's like, what the hell was that? Hello? To no answer. Darcy reached her head up, and she saw the door creak again, and then something was batting at it. And then she saw the black figure, the large, husky, grizzled bear. Now, of course, this startled them both. And instantly, this disgusting aroma of piss and fish and rotting flesh filled the room. Have you guys ever smelled a bear? Especially black bears, they're very opportunistic. They go through garbage, they eat dead carcasses, they'll eat dead fish, they'll eat whatever the hell they can get into. They'll often roll into it as well, so that they can disguise their natural smell. So they just smell kind of like a heaping pile of garbage in some instances, and just how powerful these things are. It's actually known that these animals can break a branch about this thick with their jaws, just crack that damn thing in half with one single bite. They're known to take out cattle twice their size, full-grown bulls with a nice bite to the neck and swat to the paw. These things are not to be messed with. But they heard this commotion and they smelled this disgusting aroma. So, of course, they get up and they tighten up their bathrobes, and Darcy slips on her slippers and they start going to the other side of the cabin. Fortunately, they had an exit door. So they bolt out the door, and this bear sees them, and then the door slams behind the bear. So it's like the bear didn't have an escape, and at this point probably feels threatened. Not that that really matters with how this thing acted later. It just makes me think that there was something wrong with this bear. There was something really unusual and almost sinister about it. I mean, was it just that hungry? You'd think it could have stayed in the damn cabin. That's what we're going with this. So they left the cabin. Their car keys were still inside. They run over to their Subaru, right? It's in the driveway. Now the cabin, there's some woods around the cabin, but it's in a nice clearing. It's a small cabin, just a 700 square feet or something like that, single story. But it has a roof, and the roof was only about 7 foot off the ground. You could get to the edge of the roof. So Darcy and Michael, they run to their Subaru. They try to open the damn thing, but the doors are locked. They left the keys in the cabin, and the bear is still roaming around in the cabin. So Michael rushes them over to the cabin. He's like, baby, let's get up on the roof. And she's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? She's like, let's get up on the roof. And he cups his hands like this, and she puts her little foot in his hands, and he heaves her up with all his might. And then he has to put his hands on her rump and just sort of shoulder press her up there, and she manages to pull herself up and roll up on the roof. Now, the roof wasn't all that slanted. It was about this much in one part. So they were able to get up on the roof, and then Michael ended up having to do a pull-up to get up on the damn roof. And that's when the bear started to turn and come outside the cabin. So Michael could hear it bashing around inside. Just all the clings, the clangs, the pots, the garbage getting tipped over and torn through. But then it seemed to be more interested in the people. So it ended up going out the back door, the same door Darcy and Michael exited through. And then, of course, the door shuts behind it. These are flimsy little cabin doors with just screens and a thin little frame. So the door shuts behind the bear. And then the bear stands up on its hind legs and nearly grabs Michael's foot. But Michael, just in time, gets his foot up over the roof. And then this bear is standing up there down on the ground, just looking up at these two, just wanting to get the best of them. So Michael and Darcy are up on the roof. This bear is circling around the cabin, this husky black bear. I don't know if it just got out of hibernation. Was the damn thing starving? Did it feel intimidated by these people? Sometimes with male black bears, from the research that I've done on this channel, it seems as though in some instances, they almost want to intimidate people, sort of out of a power trip sort of thing. They say that to an extent, we're competitors with the bears. We're like top of the food chain, this and that. We compete for the same food sources, fish and small game. So if a black bear sees a human, especially if it's a young male, they kind of want to prove their dominance. And that's how they get other mates and this and that. So I don't know if that's what this thing, if it had like a vendetta against these people, that was like, I better take care of you guys. I better kill you. And then I can get on with my life. I don't really know what was going on in the damn thing's head. But Darcy and Michael were on top of the roof. They were watching this bear circle around, grunting, and they were just terrified, just sweating, not knowing what to do. It was like, oh my God, he was like, get out of here, bear. They'd just yell at the thing, and it would just ignore them. So what happened was, eventually, it wasn't too far from their Subaru, toward the edge of the driveway, where their garbage can was. And the bear made its way over to the garbage can, knocked it over, and started eating out of the mess that it made. And Darcy and Michael, of course, didn't want to get down from the roof because he didn't know. Maybe the bear was just acting distracted and it would attack them. I mean, the way that this thing was acting, you really can't take risks with it. You got to stay away. And that's exactly what they did. So the bear was eating out of the garbage. Michael was up there trying to calm down Darcy. She was terrified. And this poor woman was all scathed up in her bathrobe. She was barely wearing anything under there. And she's bleeding, bruised up from getting up on the roof. Just what a disgusting thing. But then here's where it gets tricky. So Michael decided that it would be a good idea to leave his wife up on the roof while he walks over to the neighbor's house that's about a half mile down the road. What do you guys think about that? Would you leave your wife up on the roof by herself when there's this bear that just rummaged through your cabin, chased you out of it, tried to grab you on your way up to the roof, and somehow still didn't manage to get up on the roof itself? I don't really know how or why. You'd think it could get up there. But would you do that? Nonetheless, that's what happened. Michael went to the other side of the roof. The bear was on this side. He went to the other side. He climbed down, and he bolted over to his neighbor's house, and the bear just ignored him. His neighbor's name was Tom, and Michael banged and banged at the door, told him about what was going on. Tom grabbed his rifle, and they drove back down over to Michael and Darcy's cabin. So about 10 or 15 minutes later, they pull up into the driveway, and of course, there's no sign of Darcy or the bear. They scan the rooftop, nothing. He yells for Darcy! Darcy! To nothing. Where's the bear? Where's his wife? Tom and Michael end up circling around to the other side of the cabin. Nothing. They check the roof. Climbs up on the roof, looks around. Nothing. No signs of the bear or his wife. They end up walking down the driveway a bit. And they venture into the woods where they notice some scathing marks on the driveway. And that's where they see the hideous scene. Darcy was lying on her side with her face facing toward where Michael and Tom were. Her face was pale and lifeless. It lost all coloration. Her eyes were still open, but one was just bleeding and bulging out of its socket. Her skull was she was scalped to an extent by the bear. It ripped a lot of her hair and skin off. And of course, her dress was just mangled in the dirt. And there were these festering wounds. And it just was what a horrible scene that you would have to witness and take notice to your spouse in such a devastating, defeated position. And of course, this bear was just hulking over her corpse, just staring back at Michael and Tom with its head kind of low and swaying like this. That's what they'll do. If you see a bear with its head low and swaying like this, you know that thing is up to no good. You know that thing is, it's not messing around. You know, that's not a juke or whatever. That's not just a taunt. I'm going to do something if you don't get the hell out of here. And it was trying to protect the corpse. So they yell at the animal. It doesn't budge. Michael is just frozen in fear and shock. You know, he just witnessed the death of his wife, basically. Tom grabs the gun from Michael and aims up. Boom! And shoots the bear right in the shoulder. And the bear collapses a little bit, and then he cocks the gun again, and the bear tries to kind of maneuver toward them a bit, and then boom! Shoots it again right in the skull. And then the thing just drops just several feet away from Darcy's body. Of course, they call the authorities. Darcy was dead on sight, partly eaten. What an unusual bear attack. But here's the thing. Some have speculated about this attack. Some say, this was intentional on Michael's behalf. He pushed her off the damn roof. The bear ate her. Then he ran and grabbed his neighbor and acted like he was trying to save her or whatever. But he found her right in the position she was in. I mean, I don't know. Some of you guys have said this when I addressed this video before in the comment section. You said that, hey, maybe Michael had something to do with this. Maybe she was under some special insurance. Maybe she had life insurance. I mean, what an unusual thing. But it's not like he hired the bear. He'd have to be very quick and opportunistic to take advantage of this sort of scenario. But why would you leave your wife up on the damn roof when there's this bear that is trying to kill you? Can anyone answer me that in the comments below? maybe hindsight's just 420, but I mean, I feel like I would have taken my woman with me. A bear is less likely to attack if there's more than one human in its presence. Most attacks are when a person's by themselves, all right? So if you have two people next to each other, two adults, and you're trying to intimidate the damn thing, most of the time, it's not going to attack. Now, there are some instances where they do, and where they have. Grizzlies, polar bears, etc. will attack, groups of several people, but it's very rare. It is far, far more common for them to just be more opportunistic, and it's safer for them just to attack one person if the person's by themselves. So, I feel like that's what I would have done. How could you not know this? If you have a freaking cabin in bear country, don't you do your research? Don't you watch Chilling Tales and the Iceman? Haven't you heard of these bear attack stories before? I mean, I'm not trying to knock on the guy, but I just know that this brings up some questions, all right? And, man, some people are like, oh, yeah, he was having an affair. And he pushed that lady off the damn roof. Or some say, oh, yeah, the whole story was completely made up. He wrecked his own cabin to make it look like a bear rummaged through it. He beat his wife over the head with a damn frying pan. He set her corpse out, and he laid out some food for the bear. And then the bear came, because they knew that the bears would commonly eat out of the garbage. And he knew that he could set it up to make it look like the bear killed her, but it was really just some rummaging bear going through the garbage, and the woman's corpse is right next to the damn thing. And he didn't leave any garbage out that day, just the corpse, probably poured honey all over her. And then the bear started tearing into her. All this stuff is possible. But damn. Should I be a detective? I just thought of that actually on the spot. That it's not like you hired the bear. Oh, but what if he made up that whole damn story, and he left that freaking carcass out for the bear to rummage through and just rip up. You probably wouldn't pour honey on it, because obviously the autopsy would find shit all over the body that the bear didn't do. But I don't know. What do you guys think? He could have taken her up on the roof and pushed her off. Because then the autopsy would still say, oh yeah, she fell and bashed her freaking head. Here's the marks on the ground where she hit the ground. So then it all kind of adds up still, He could have pushed her off the roof, or then just, strangled her or something, then let the bear eat her. Who knows? I'm going too far on this. I shouldn't be, maybe I shouldn't be speculating, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and like this video. Let me know your speculations in the comments. What a horrible loss. Most likely it's a legit story, and there was no foul play going on there, but you just can't help but wonder, huh? I'll see you guys tomorrow with more chilling tales from the Iceman.